What would you do if you were trapped in one of the most dangerous places on Earth, with no way out, and the lives of 27 men depended on you? This is the unbelievable true story of Ernest Shackleton, the man who refused to give up. It was the year 1914. The world was on the brink of war, but Shackleton's eyes were fixed on another battle. The battle to conquer the last great challenge on Earth, crossing Antarctica on foot. He dreamed of walking from one side of the frozen continent to the other, a journey no human had ever completed. He handpicked 27 men for the expedition. Sailors, scientists, carpenters, and cooks. Some had years of polar experience, others had never seen snow. But all shared one thing, a burning desire for adventure. They boarded a ship called the Endurance, a sturdy vessel built for icy waters. As they sailed out of South Georgia Island, spirits were high. Men laughed on deck, played banjos, and talked about the glory that awaited them. The sea was cold, but their hearts were warm with excitement. Weeks later, they entered the Weddell Sea, a place sailors called the Ice Factory. At first, the ice was scattered, floating in chunks, but soon it grew thicker, denser. Until one morning, the Endurance was surrounded by an endless white desert. The men tried to push through using the ship's powerful engines, but it was useless. The ice closed in, pressing on the hull from all sides. Shackleton told his men to be patient. "The ice will break," he said. But days turned into weeks, and the ship did not move an inch. Winter descended. The temperature dropped below -20 degrees Celsius. The sun vanished for months, replaced by endless night. They built shelters on deck, played games, read books, and told stories to keep their minds from the crushing silence. But then came the day they feared most. The ice began to move, not to free them, but to crush them. Loud cracks echoed in the frozen air. The wooden hull groaned under the pressure. Timbers splintered, water poured in. Shackleton gave the order, "Abandon ship!" Men scrambled to save food, clothing, sled dogs, and the 3 small lifeboats. They watched as the Endurance, their only home, was swallowed by the ice. One man whispered, "She's gone." Now they were alone on a drifting ice floe. No radio, no contact. No one knew where they were. Shackleton gathered his men. "We are not lost," he told them. "The ship is gone, but our hope is not. We live as brothers, or we die as fools." For months they camped on the moving ice. They hunted seals and penguins, melted ice for water, and endured blizzards that buried their tents. Some men fell ill, others broke down under the stress. But Shackleton never let despair take hold. Every day, he walked among them, speaking to each man, reminding them of the goal: survival. When the ice beneath them began to crack, they had no choice but to take to the lifeboats. For 7 days they rowed through freezing waters, waves crashing over them, salt burning their eyes and skin. Fingers turned numb, lips cracked and bled. Men collapsed from exhaustion. Finally, they spotted land, a jagged, barren rock called Elephant Island. They kissed the frozen ground, but their relief was short-lived. No ships passed here. If they stayed, they would starve. Shackleton made his most daring decision yet. He would take 5 men and sail 800 miles in one of the lifeboats to reach South Georgia Island, the nearest place with people. The boat was just 22 feet long, built for short trips along shorelines, not for the most dangerous seas on Earth. They packed the bare essentials, some food, water, a compass, and their will to live. The journey was hell. Gale-force winds tossed the boat like a toy. Waves as tall as houses crashed over them. They bailed water constantly to keep from sinking. They slept in shifts, curled up in wet, freezing clothes. Their skin blistered from salt and cold. Hands bled from gripping ropes. After 2 weeks at sea, frost-bitten and half-starved, they reached South Georgia Island. But the whaling station, and safety, was on the far side. The only way there was to cross a mountain range no one had ever climbed, in the middle of a blizzard. with no map and no climbing gear. Shackleton and 2 men set out. They climbed icy cliffs, crossed glaciers, and waded through waist-deep snow. At times, they slid down slopes, praying they wouldn't fall into hidden crevasses. For 36 hours straight, they marched without rest. Finally, they saw smoke rising in the distance. They stumbled into the whaling station, dirty, ragged, and barely able to stand. The men there stared in shock. They had been given up for dead months ago. Shackleton's first words were not about himself. He said, "We must go back. My men are waiting." It took 4 attempts to break through the ice and reach Elephant Island. But when he finally arrived, every single man was alive. Not one had been lost. Shackleton never crossed Antarctica, but his journey became one of the greatest survival stories in human history. He showed that true leadership isn't about titles or glory. It's about standing by your people, no matter the cost. And sometimes, the greatest victory is simply keeping hope alive.